Mr. Opal, thank you for your time today.
Yeah, good to be here.
First of all, your reaction to this video, which certainly appears that there is an extortion attempt of a business owner in Abbotsford.
Shocking, just to hear that, and how scary it really is for that business owner. But it's not the first one we've seen. There have been many leading up to this. So this is an increase in extortion on Canadian businesses.
How many are you aware of, roughly, besides this one obviously occurring? How big is this problem now?
I mean, the most of the ones that we hear about are the ones that make the news, that make it onto social media, the ones that the victims themselves are putting out there and saying, "I got this call" or "I got this letter." As you're aware, in Abbotsford, there was a number of letters that were sent out. These were happening in Brampton area. In Alberta, there's over a dozen houses under construction that were burnt over extortion. So there's a number of cases right across the country.
And what would your government, or if elected, want to do about this?
Well, the fact of the matter is that since Justin Trudeau has been in power over the last 9 years, they've really watered down the justice system. It's a soft on crime approach that has not worked and has led to the increase in extortion and crime overall in this country. They made it easier to get bail. They reduced sentences for these criminals. And so what we would do under a pure party of government is to bring in mandatory minimum penalties. Right now, there is not a minimum penalty for extortion, what you see right now. So we would bring in 3 years mandatory minimum sentence. Extortion in, if you use a firearm, that will be 5 years. And also, 4 years, and in 5 years if it was if you did this as part of like an organized crime, a gang, or a large crime syndicate, is what we've also actually have been seeing across the country. That this is very organized, that this is targeting certain people, and it's scary for these victims. These victims, I've talked to them, I've met with them, and their house has been shot up. As I said, there's been arson involved, and many of them have had to leave their homes, live separately as a family because they don't want the family to be all in one place. They're scared. They're not be able to operate their businesses properly, and on top of that are spending thousands and thousands of dollars in increased security, either for their business and also for their personal security.
In the numbers that I'm seeing, certainly prior to this video that I had put out, there were about 74, I think, minimum incidents or cases related to extortion, focusing on predominantly the South Asian community in British Columbia and Alberta and Ontario. But in this case, when you slow the video down, it looks like the call was coming from Portugal. I think it was the June 10th was the day the call was made. Now that, it's a WhatsApp call through an app, so that call could be spoofed. The person could be anywhere. Would these changes that you're saying your government, if elected, would move forward, would they have any impact? Because these threats could be made from overseas.
You're absolutely right, but we need to have strong laws that apply especially to those that are carrying out the threats, the ones that are going and shooting at the houses or shooting at people, essentially, because it is very dangerous. There's people behind those windows that they're shooting at in the houses, cracking down on those people that are setting the fires. So if there's somebody, some crime head, the crime boss sitting somewhere else in the world, they obviously, to follow through on their threats, they need people here in Canada. And it would crack down on those people, but it would also give the police tools to link them to the crime bosses. So this would actually give them those tools to be able to work with other police forces around the world. The problem is right now, under Justin Trudeau's current laws, those tools do not exist. Those penalties don't exist. We need those penalties and to be able to give the police the tools to catch these criminals and hold them accountable.
So, but I mean, here's the thing: they can find these crime bosses, these gangs from overseas. Probably won't have that much difficulty finding people here to do that type of work. Do you not have to focus more on international? Because at the end of the day, you can find one low-level criminal and put them away. That's so be it. But the person people that are instigating all of this, in this case, the crime boss himself, those people, there is no justice there. There is no accountability for those individuals. How do we deal with this, particularly when you want to deal with the crux of this issue, which is the crime groups, which are predominantly overseas?
You have to deal with both. Yes, you need to have, the police forces work together with other international police forces to crack down on those people, but we also need to crack down on the people committing those crimes here in Canada. Just the other day, 5 people were arrested in the Brampton area for extortion throughout Ontario, and they are already out on bail. And at least one, maybe 2 or 3 of them, were already out on bail from previous extortion attempts. So we need to have tougher laws in this country to crack down on these people. And, again, 3-year minimum if you're involved in extortion, 4 years if it involves a firearm, crack down on those that are using arson in part of their extortion attempts, and also if you're involved in an organized crime. This has to be a multifaceted approach, and we have to be able to give the police the tools to do this. This won't work if the people that are being hired are being arrested in the morning and released on bail later that day. We need to change the laws of this country to crack down on these people.
You think what you're saying is going to be the answer to all of this? I mean, the reason I say this is this isn't the first community that's been focused on. You see this in the East Asian community, particularly with the Chinese community, have been threatened as well from folks from Hong Kong and China. As well, this seems to be an ongoing issue. You think these simple changes are going to make the difference in regards to the long arm of international crime, thinking twice about doing this kind of work in Canada?
I don't think these are simple. This is a solution. These are common sense solutions to this problem. This is part of it, that we need to keep criminals behind bars. We can't make it so easy for criminals for these international bosses to hire people here in Canada to get arrested and then be released on bail later that day. They need to be arrested, have strong penalties, stay behind bars. That has to be a part of the solution. That is a part of the solution.
Mr. Uppal, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.